the Entrepreneurial CPA Show. In case you missed our live special webinar series on the evolution to advisory services, don't worry. Check out here what you missed. This episode is all about you can go gig, leverage the gig economy. In this segment, learn out from Beech Valley the solutions you need to embrace the gig economy like nobody else. So up first, we've got our first guest today. We've got Josh he's a founder of CPA, the founder and a CPA from Beech Valley Solutions. They do what no one else does. They provide the best staffing for companies around the country. Josh and his partner teamed up with this idea. They're going to take the best Big Four talent that has all these skills and resources and connect them with your company for those special projects. And if you're a CPA firm and you need help for one of your clients, they need that special resource, that special service. You need to call Beech Valley. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Josh.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Great to meet you, Dr. Sean and Garrett. Always a pleasure to be with you. So starting off, I know you wanted me to go ahead and define the gig economy. The gig economy really, or freelance economy, which I like to say because it's a tongue twister, the freelance economy is really an alternative to traditional work arrangements, the traditional full-time salaried employment. So as you alluded, the traditional example is a Lyft or Uber, but that's more for low-skilled labor. High-skilled labor makes sense too. You've got companies like TopTal or 10X Management who've really kind of started in this space on the web development side. You've got companies like Axiom who are doing the same for legal. This is not my stat, although it's like perfect for my company. I think from 2005 to 2015, you've seen 100% net employment growth from the gig economy sector. So really here to stay. I think 35% of professionals will be doing a gig by 2020. Again, that's Forbes, not me. So hopefully those are legitimate stats. But it makes sense for the accounting profession even more so, in my opinion. Whether you're a CPA firm, an accounting advisory firm, or traditional public or private company, you should be considering the gig economy. If you're a CPA firm, think of fractional employment as a way to address some of the seasonal needs of the industry, audit and tax season, but also appealing to a millennial talent base. Then you've got your accounting advisory firms. These are companies, think of them like a mid-sized PwC risk advisory practice. You're going to want to win work, but you don't want to assume all the overhead and paying for a recruiter and full-time employees because you don't know where your work's coming from. So if you leverage the gig economy, meaning ex-Big Four CPAs on demand, you can build engagement teams on an as-needed basis. Finally, if you're a private or public company, you're obviously going to have one-off demands that don't warrant necessarily full-time employment. Let's say you have an ASC 606 implementation on the horizon. What's that professional going to do after the new revenue standard is implemented? Or if someone goes, I do a lot of hands, so I apologize. But if someone, if someone goes on maternity leave, or if you're doing a new system implementation, why not get a specialist who can come in on an as-needed basis, maybe recur if need be, instead of spend 3 to 4 months trying to find that right person, by which point it's too late.
Josh, that's great because I've actually used you guys before for a client I worked with that was based out of New Zealand, and they had some complicated international tax issues. They want to know how the U.S. GAAP played a role, how IFRS played a role, all these complicated pieces. And it was way above the resources of the firm I was at the time. And I got in touch with you, and within 48 hours, we had a Big Four talent that had done that before, hooked in, got them the questions they needed for as long as they needed, made us look like a rock star, and we didn't have to do anything more than just give you a call and say, here's our problem. You find me the best and the brightest to fill that need.
Yeah, absolutely. And we appreciate the business and the plug. People oftentimes ask us, why would someone who is that ex-Big Four CPA want to work within the gig economy and help firms like Garrett's? I should know because I actually was one of those CPAs myself. I used to work at PwC along with my partner. We left about 4 years ago to start a separate company called Rocket Grad, which is no longer in existence. Rocket Grad, long story short, was like LinkedIn for college students. But we had these Mark Zuckerbergian aspirations, right? So we knew we weren't going to be able to accomplish those goals while we were working at PwC. What we didn't realize is once we quit, We still need to pay rent. We were pre-revenue, everything like that. So why not put our ex Big Four services task? We started subcontracting in the Atlanta area, working on RevRec engagements. My partner Brad built an inventory database for a manufacturer here in Atlanta. Next thing you know, we're doing a restatement in Nashville. We're going to Vancouver and working with the new lease standard. So all of a sudden, we realized one, we're making more money than ever before on an hourly basis. Two, we had the flexibility to take 3 months and build this Rocket Grad website while increasing our accounting base and network. And then thirdly, we just kind of fell in love with accounting again. We were going from a world of compliance and networking with new professionals, working on new projects, and so that's when we realized there was something there to Beech Valley. We recruited a few folks within our network in Atlanta, and as of 2 years ago, have broadened that out into a national company. So to put a bow on all that, why would someone join the gig economy who has that CPA background? One, it's the compensation. Getting paid for every hour you work when you're an intern was awesome. So you kind of want to have that feeling again. Two, it's the flexibility. People have aspirations to travel the world, to spend more time with family, or to start their own businesses. In fact, one person just worked on a project of ours who's also simultaneously starting a yoga studio. So that's pretty cool. Then thirdly, which we didn't expect, are the growth opportunities. You're going to network with more professionals. You're going to have more projects to do that you probably didn't realize you could do within the audit space or tax space. Plus, it's going to give you an idea of what you want to do in that next step of your career.
Which is great. I love the fact that you mentioned you kind of fell back in love with accounting. And I think that challenge to find people is always something we struggle with as a CPA. Our clients from time to time would come to us and say, yeah, I'm short this people. I need this specialty. Can you fill it in? And there's times when we'd say, that's great. We can make some revenue. We'll put someone in that seat in that bucket for 2 weeks to 2 months. Whereas that double-edged sword, because while they were there full time, we internally lost that production capacity. And we picked up a client, but we felt the pain. With you guys now, we can kind of avoid that. We can get the client whatever they need, that highest skill level. At the same time, our people can keep doing what they do and move on. So,
right.
How does that process work? How do you guys kind of mix up and find the right talent for the right job?
Absolutely. Yeah, great question. So off the bat, we've clearly resonated within the CPA landscape, really from that senior associate to senior director type level. We've had over 6,000 CPAs apply to join our network, and we've by no means vetted all of those on the front end. So these are people who want to now or in the future join the gig economy. So let's say Garrett's firm has this same 606 implementation need. They come to you saying, we need some help. What do we do? So one of our Big Four CPAs internally is going to have a conversation with your client, understand the exact need that they have, and maybe the different levels or level to get the job done. We're going to go to this base of 6,000 people who have applied to join our network, run what we call an internal campaign. We're going to have multiple interviews from one of these Big Four professionals. We're going to put together a list of our top 3 and present that to you. Each candidate has been vetted. Obviously, for technical skills, they have to take an Excel test. If it's a technical accounting implementation, they have to pass our technical accounting test. But we're also going to assess their cultural, how they come across culturally, and make sure it's a fit for your company. Knowing that even though it's a 4-month engagement, let's say, we still know that we want everyone to be happy and potentially work together in the future. So long story short, we're really truly on-demand service, and that you can have any sort of need. We're going to understand that. We're accountants ourselves. We're going to find pre-vetted resources to do the job for you that we can present, on a as-needed or top 2 or 3 basis.
That's great. That's great. I think it's a great tool for firms to have in their back pocket to really expand the reach with their clients, to say, I can really add value to you very quickly at that ultimate high-end technical range limit, because there's really no limit to the technical skill you have access to.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been blown away by some of the talent we've gotten. I mean, we hear oftentimes that there's the senior associate level that's kind of the unicorn within the market, but it's not just senior associates. It's director level, it's manager level, it's someone who has very unique industry experience with like power utility companies, let's say, who also happens to speak Spanish. So we're able to really hammer down on the specific skills that a company would need to get the job done.
Very nice. Now, I kind of know this answer already, but really for everybody watching, when it comes to the economics, how does that process work? How do you guys make that work for the freelancer and the company?
Yeah, great question. So technically, our freelancers or our resources set their own rates, and that they are in fact part of the gig economy. They are their own boss. It's part of the appeal. With that, we understand what your client's budget would be, and we can sometimes coach our resources to specific rate ranges, knowing that candidate X is interested, and they kind of fit the exact type of skill set that you need. As a general kind of marker, depending on the market, let's say someone has 6 years of blended public accounting and industry experience, that's going to run about $90 to $95 an hour. But again, we're willing to work with any company on any budget. And it really just affects the type of resources we're able to get on any particular project.
Very nice. Dr. Sean, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I mean,
Put you on the
obviously,
spot.
the whole content idea and the whole gig sort of building out that whole network of expertise is an excellent idea. But I do have a few questions, and I think we'll have time to get it to at least a couple of them answered. Right. So one is, how do you deal with any pushback, right, from a company, right, who after they've hired somebody, because obviously, right, there are always going to be issues that are going to pop up during projects. So, like, if that does happen, how do you deal with it?
Yeah, so I'm actually really glad you asked that. We take quality most important of our value proposition. Quality, timeliness, and the value we create. But quality, again, is number one. Everyone on our team has an Big Four or top 25 regional background. So we take that vetting procedure serious. So much so that any engagement we start with you, if a resource within 2 weeks isn't working out, we refund you completely. You still pay the resource, and we're willing to take that $5 to $20,000 risk on our end, knowing that we believe in our vetting. But historically, that hasn't happened. We've refunded one customer in the 2.5 years of existence, but it's certainly something we bake into our contracts. What's more common is two parties basically have a great time working together, and it turns into a full-time employment.
Awesome.
When I said kind of growth opportunities, a lot of folks are in the gig economy because they don't know what they want to do. This is a great way to kind of dip your toes in the water, as they say, and we facilitate that full-time employment.
Yeah,
never stand in the way.
And I mean that whole process, they're dealing with any possible issues, is a topic that I think is very important to emphasize, right? Because that conflict is going to happen on projects, right? Whether it's internal talent or it's external talent, right? So having a good a process in place, and frankly a good sort of company culture to help offset those risks and to then fix it once it happens is very important and a key point to highlight. So probably the only other question that I have, upon hearing all of this good stuff, right? Because basically your whole pitch is to basically offer firms this huge pool of talent, right, and expertise on a on-demand model, right? So the only question that I would have based on that is, okay, fine, what's the end goal here, right? What's the plan going forward, right, to help sort of build your model out? Are you planning on adding different services, expanding?
For Beech Valley specifically?
Yes.
Yeah. So right now we are a platform, but everything we do is really is done manually, in that we're building the profiles ourselves and we're doing a lot of the matchmaking. Our long-term goal is to make an even more efficient platform where a company can come in, tell us exactly what we need. We can make that match faster, more efficient, and just kind of grow that talent pool. Right now, if you go to our website, there's not an outward customer-facing platform, so that's one thing we're working on.
Okay.
Like I said, it's done internally right now. But building out more tests. Really, we want to cover cover anything that rolls up into the CFO function. So that's beyond accounting, that's corporate finance and IT risk assurance, which we do now. It's just at a lesser degree from a classic CPA on-demand model.
Okay, so to sort of paraphrase that, right? Because I know that your goal up front was to create a network for people who were in college, right?
Yeah,
so it almost comes across as if your end goal is to be that automated platform to help experts hook up with firms, almost like a network in that same idea. So
which is exactly what we're doing now. We just need to build out more technology and infrastructure around that. But that is 100% our goal, and we're actually working with a team in Silicon Valley to do that. We're talking about partnering, so we're excited for some things to come in the near future with Beech Valley.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah.
Perfect, Josh. Well, we're just about out of time. Any final thoughts or notes you want to wrap up on here today?
Just that I appreciate your time and thanks for having me. I'm always excited to meet other entrepreneurial CPAs and work with them. So thanks for having me, and would love to do it again.
Thanks for tuning in today. After hearing from Beech Valley, what are you waiting for? It's time to go gig. If you have questions, reach out to Dr. Sean or myself. We're happy to help you get started. Don't forget, as always, click the little button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, stay up to date as our new episodes come out. And as always, we challenge you, take action today to change the world. Invest in yourself.